Hey up, it's Steve from That Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to Saturday UFO News. I do this every week now. This is episode 7, so we've been doing this for 7 weeks already. Don't time fly when you're having fun. Right, so anyway, you might notice I've got my Mercury Rapids cap on again, as usual. Available from Kindle. Hang on, bear with me. Just bear with me. And the book, might as well while we're here. There's the book. Can you see it? I can't see. There we go. It's available on Amazon as paperback or Kindle for a fraction of the paperback price. But, buy the paperback. But as you can see, it's a big, thick tome. It's 500 and something pages. And it's fun. That's what it is. It's a fun read. All about UFOs and adventure with UFOs in it and stuff like that, and aliens and all that jazz. Right, and speaking of UFOs, I've got a new T-shirt. Can you see it? Hang on, let me move my microphone. There we go. Got my new UFO T-shirt. Look there. With Commander Straker on. Got it from the Jerry Anderson store. Can you hear me? Got it from the Jerry Anderson store. So I'm happy with that. That's super duper. Right, so now we've got that out of the way, let's do the intro. Right, I'm back. Hello again. That was me John Craven impression. No idea what I'm talking about, have you? Right, let's get some news up. A few sightings this week. I said last week, let's do a Uri Geller and will some UFO stories and sightings into existence. Well, it's worked because we've got some. So, thank you everybody for doing that. Where have I put it? So, here we go. Right, so we'll do this. We'll do this one first. This is from Third Phase of Moon. They seem like nice guys. They've been around for a while, but the title always just throws me. Third Phase of Moon. I don't understand why this. But anyway, they've been around for a while, and this video that they've uploaded today, Saturday. What the heck just happened over Argentina, and a new TR3B video just in. Except I don't think it's a TR3B video, but it's still interesting. I'll not play it, but the links are in the description. So go visit their site, give them a subscribe. I've also got a story from Secure Team 10, from Tyler over at Secure Team 10. So give him a subscribe as well. The links are in the description. And while we're at it, up there, oh, I never get used to that. Up there, like and subscribe to this channel and drop a comment. And if you see the little blue things are telling you where my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages are, so you can follow me on the social medias, as the young'uns say. Right, so on Third Phase of Moon, they're looking at, by the way, they're celebrating 800,000, there we go, 800,000 subscribers. So congratulations to them. I've got 81 subscribers. No, 82, sorry, it's gone up, 82. When we get to 100, I might do a giveaway. I might give away a copy of my book, but we'll see. Right, so here we go. Brent Cousins and his brother, twin brother, called something else. I can't remember. So they're celebrating that. They're just showing a few video clips in celebration of hitting 800,000. Right, so now we get to these Argentina UFO sightings. It's a spherical UFO, as you can see there. There's a few pictures of it, but no video for some weird reason. I don't know why. Presumably they were taken, with a cell phone camera, mobile phone camera. So they generally tend to have the video option. Maybe it happened too fast. I don't know. Maybe it were there and gone in a few seconds. They don't make that clear. There's another shot of it. Maybe the other's just a close up of that. I don't know. But apparently it's a multiple sighting, so there's different viewpoints. Apparently, I don't know if multiple sightings from different areas or if it's a group of people that all saw it at the same time from the same area. I don't know. They don't make that clear either. By the way, the story came in from Jaime Mosan, So that immediately makes me a bit suspicious because, you know, maybe he's a lovely fella, but I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. I won't be able to throw him very far because he'd have his goons get me. Apparently this is the area it were the photos were taken in. Right, so here we go. I'll knock the sound off and I'll play the video just so you can see him scrolling the videos. There we go. So it's around a spherical UFO. Some people have said it looks like the Gulf Breeze UFO, which I suppose it does a bit. There's a shocked chap behind him. Maybe he went, "Oh, I'll get this and a selfie." I'll look shocked. So that's a bit suspicious, isn't it, to start with? But anyway, you wouldn't think to take a selfie with a UFO hovering over you, would you? There we go. Somebody says there. Oh, you can't see it from my head. Looks like the Gulf Breeze Florida UFO, which it does somewhat. That one does anyway. The others not so much. So there we go. So that's that. I think there's 3 or 4 photos. It's a bit like a dark Death Star, isn't it, with lights? Is it a fake? I don't know. Could be. I'm suspicious. You'd think if it were there, hovering there, there'd be reflecting lights on the car. They're saying here that it's casting light here on the road there, but it's not reflecting off the car by the looks. You think you'd see some reflections, wouldn't you, on the roof of the car and elsewhere, but I can't see any. But yeah, but it's interesting. It's an interesting capture, but I don't know if it's real or not. Make your own mind up. Right, so after that one, they go to another sighting, which is, in my opinion, much more interesting because it's a video. When we get there, here we go. Right, so I'll get back to the beginning. It's a short one. They keep replaying it over and over again. So I'll just play it. This is the one that say might be a TR3B, but I don't think it is. I think it's 3 lights because as you see there, the one light catches up to the others and then the fly away in formation. And that's it. That's the end of it. It pans down and we see the city and stuff. So I think it's a genuine video. There you go. Very interesting. Are the drones, flying in formation? I don't know. If you put the sound up, you can't really hear anything apart from, ambient sound. So you can't hear any, rotor blades or bzzz, that you'd hear from a drone. But it's very interesting, isn't it? There you go. I'll just let them keep playing that. But as you see, that's like 2 of them catch up to the lead one, and then they form an equilateral triangle. There we go. And it's very interesting. Or is it just the angle? Is it rotating? It just makes one of the lights look as though it's catching up to the other. Is it rotating, and then it speeds off? I don't know. But that's an interesting one. I do like that one. And that's all they've got. Then they go on to do a music video. They like their music videos. Do a 3rd phase of moon. So we'll leave that one there. Make your own mind up. But I do like that triangle video. That's a good one. That's one that I get a thumbs up from me because I think it's a genuine video. Don't know if it's aliens or whatever. I don't know, but it's a mysterious one. Could be drones. I don't know what it is. Obviously not satellites, is it? Going a little bit fast for satellites for a start. But they don't move in formations like that, do they? They don't catch up with each other anyway and go into formation. Not like that anyway. Right, we've got some stories. We'll do the secure team one later on, but we do have some more videos this other video. Yes, I forgot about this one. Mysterious UFO seen flying over Hertfordshire before suddenly vanishing. So here we go. So we'll see this from the sun. But there we see it's doing aerobatics, and I immediately thought, is it? It's obviously some sort of air display. It's fireworks of some sort. But people say no, it's a UFO. Oh, for God's sake! We'll play it again. Have a look, and then I'll show you what I think it is. I think other people have said this as well. So I'll let you have just a watch, and as you see, it's like there's two lights, like pyrotechnics, and the fly around each other, and people are thinking, well, how can the normal aircraft do that? Well, I'll show you in a minute. Right. So here we go. Airplanes with fireworks, fireflies, flying display at Eastbourne Air Show. Right, so I'll just show you this. Take the sound off. So there you go. They've got the fireworks in their wingtips. As you can see, from a distance, that'd look very much like the video we've just seen, wouldn't it? So that's what I think it was. I think they just caught like an air display. Maybe a plane practicing for an air display. I don't know, but there you go. That's what I think we've just seen in that UFO video. By the way, apologies, I've no backdrop again. Never mind. So there you go. So that's what I think that is. So is that one debunked? I think it is. Right, so we'll move on to stories. Right, this is an old one. This is one from the vault. Meteorites do not make abrupt turns. It's a new news story, October 4th, but I'm saying it's about an old case. Meteorites do not make abrupt turns when a UFO took aim at Pennsylvania. Editor's note, welcome to the world of Paranormal PA, a pen live series that delves into Pennsylvania-grown stories of spirits, cryptids, oddities and legends and the unexplained. Drink of coffee. Hey, right, so we'll get on with it. Right, there was a lot going on in the US in 1965. Oh, have I gone too far there? I think I have to just move that down a touch. There we go. There was a lot going on in the US in 1965. It was the year that those outraged by the Vietnam War marched on Washington in what was then the largest peace protest scene in American history. And it was the year people watched in wonder as NASA conducted the first spacewalk. And that was Ed White that did that. Conducted their first spacewalk. I think the first spacewalk was by Alexei Leonov, the Soviets. They got a lot of the firsts in the 60s, didn't they? Sorry, NASA, but it's true. It was the year President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, Malcolm X was assassinated, and The Sound of Music hit theatres. It was also the year in which tons of people saw a fireball streak across the sky before eventually landing with a great thump in a wood 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. On Friday, December 10th, the Beaver County Times detailed how 4 men miles apart each reported the same thing the previous evening, an orange fireball gliding over their heads before disappearing out of sight. Reports of the object flooded police departments in the area. One Beaver Falls woman called the police to let them know how her son had witnessed a big ball of fire fall into the woods, something she didn't believe until she noticed the woods are smoking. But crikey, I've gone too far then. Scroll wheel malfunctioned. Or is it me that malfunctions? But the journey of this fireball didn't begin in Pennsylvania, although it certainly ended there. The object was spotted above 6 states plus parts of Canada, leaving debris in its wake that caused fires to break out in several places, before crash landing in a wooded area in the town of Kecksburg. Sorry, I'm just adjusting myself. Despite the strange object and the fires and the sonic booms the crash created, authorities assured the public there was no cause for panic. Newspapers like the Youngstown Vindicator, that's an amazing title for a newspaper, isn't it? Deemed it nothing more than a meteor, which it said wasn't completely unexpected because the Earth is currently being bombarded by one of the more prominent annual showers of meteors, the Geminids. And I'll scroll down a bit because the right is disappearing behind my fat head. Many accepted this explanation with a shrug of their shoulders before going on with their regularly scheduled lives. Was it scheduled? I don't know which is. One's American, one's British. Wait, one says scheduled, one says scheduled. I think it's scheduled, isn't it? Others were, and still are, a bit more sceptical. I heard this sizzling noise, and then I seen this red fireball coming, witness Bill Buellbush told the History Channel's UFO Hunters in 2009, and I watched it, and it went up towards the mountain, it made the turn and came back, a perfect turn, and came down. It just seemed like it was trying to find a place to land. Therein lies one of the strangest themes of the Kecksburg crash, and why so many have been unable to accept the official "it was just a meteor" explanation. And they're going to mention the Soviet. Anyway, we'll see. Various witness accounts have, like Buellbush's, described how the object didn't just simply fall from the sky, but appeared to make controlled movements before hitting the ground. Controlled being a common adjective found within reports of the object's actions. In writing for the Vindicator almost a week after the incident, Ivan T. Sanderson described the paper as a widely respected authority on the unexplained phenomena of science. Notes how the object was on an uninterrupted straight trajectory before it made a 25-degree turn to the east. There is no possible converting this course into any form of geometric curve, stated Sanderson. The fall of material on the ground pinpoints the passage, and meteorites do not make abrupt turns in their direction of flight. Plus, in keeping with the fireball's controlled movements, this thing was slow. Sanderson points out that the maximum average speed of a meteor is about 144,000 miles per hour. It depends, some are faster, some are slower, which is to say 40 miles per second. This thing was only going about 16 miles per minute, or 2,400 miles per hour. There was also the fact that there were feds crawling around the place, and therein lies another strange aspect of the Kecksburg crash. The Evening News simply reported how state troopers and Air Force personnel tramped through the area for hours, only to find nothing. The Department of Defense swiftly followed suit, with confirmations of the fireball being a natural phenomenon, and that essentially it was that. But the fact that there was any government presence at the site of the Kecksburg crash drew even more attention to the incident, and certainly hasn't done much to quell long-standing conspiracy theories. Oh, and there's Leslie Keane, author of a book, talks to Stan Gordon, so he's both famous ufologists. According to 40 Years of Secrecy, NASA, the Military, and the 1965 Kecksburg Crash by Leslie Keane, who later sued the space agency under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, for how the records concerning the incident were lost. The crash site was immediately sealed off by the Army and State Police. Engineers and scientists too were brought in on the scene, and some civilians claim to have been forced out of the area at gunpoint upon attempting closer inspection. To this day, no one knows what triggered the interest of the US military or why the Army was so intent on hiding the object that it threatened civilians with weapons, writes Keane. The subsequent Air Force denial that anything at all came down is even more perplexing and has led to heated speculation. Obviously something happened, didn't it? Those who were able to catch a glimpse of the object described it as being acorn-shaped, a little bigger than a Volkswagen, and engraved. That's an intriguing, my own personal hypothesis, that's an intriguing observation there, and we'll get back to that. And engraved with strange inscriptions that were not unlike Egyptian hieroglyphics. Whatever it was, Penn Live outdoor expert Marcus Schneck, great names, has previously detailed how it was supposedly carted off on a flatbed truck, never to be seen again. Many, of course, suspected the whole incident to be a government cover-up, but what would they have been trying to conceal? Well, to borrow from a widely beloved meme, one theory isn't saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Schneck explains how many believe this acorn-like structure to have come from another planet. The interest in this alleged Kecksburg UFO is so persistent that the area holds an annual UFO festival, complete with conferences and a hot dog eating contest, of course, as well as a UFO store run by the local volunteer fire company. And I presume that's a photo from the annual UFO festival. Right, here we go. But the theories that buzz around the incident aren't solely alien-related. A 1998 Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article said plenty of people believed it was some type of experimental spacecraft or the USSR-made Cosmo 96 Venus probe, also acorn-like in shape. Both are entirely of this world and plausible, especially given the Kecksburg incident took place during the height of the USSR space race. It's an intriguing story, stated Stan Gordon, ufologist, paranormal researcher, and premier expert on the incident. According to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette in 1998, it's been almost 33 years and we still don't have an answer. Will the answer ever come? Who's to say? Government branches such as the US Navy and Congress have admittedly started to be more open about reported sightings of UFOs, or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena as they're now called. Heck, there's even the UAP task force, which was launched by the Defence Department back in 2020, that now more seriously looks into these types of reports. Whether the truth behind Kecksburg comes to light, there is one fact that remains. Sometimes all it takes is keeping an eye on to the sky to spot something that makes life here on Earth a little bit more interesting. Oh, and that's it. That's the end. But they didn't mention what my personal theory is about what happened at Kecksburg. And my personal theory is it was the Nazi bell, Der Glocke. That's my personal theory. So I don't think it was an alien spaceship. It was a Nazi, essentially a time machine. That's what I think it was. Because it disappeared. It was in an area in Nazi-occupied Poland. There's this like a Stonehenge type structure there, and deep beneath it, they were doing this experiment with what was called the bell, and the scientists who were in charge all disappeared, or the main scientists disappeared, and the bell itself disappeared. And I think it was a time machine. I think it jumped 20 years into the future. Maybe that's, it goes in them increments, maybe, I don't know. And it appeared above Kecksburg, came crashing down. Maybe it wasn't supposed, maybe they didn't know that had happened, maybe they hadn't taken that into account when time travelling, because you don't only travel in time, you're travelling in time, but you're not travelling in space, but the Earth's still travelling in it, so maybe it re-emerged 20 years later, high up in the atmosphere, came barreling down, which is why it wasn't going at meteoric speeds. It was just falling out of the sky. But how it did a turn, I don't know. But that's my theory. I think it was the Der Glocke. So there you go. So, that's my 2 penneth. But still an interesting story, the Kecksburg incident. But that's from 1965, which is a long time ago, before even I was born. Right, another story. Man says encounter in woods age 7 made him a UFO hunter. It was definitely not of this earth. It was such a weird vibe. Its head, in proportion to its body, was tiny. It's usually the other way around, isn't it, with aliens? But we'll see. There he is, Ben. What's his name? Ben Walgate, that is. Right, so let's have a read. Can you see it all? Yeah. Let's have another sip of coffee before I continue. If I get distracted, if you see me looking round, on the TV next to me, I've got playing. I've got The Proof is Out There on the History Channel. So they're just looking at Bigfoot now. We're seeing the Bluff Creek incident. From 1967, I think that was, the year I was born. There you go. Oh, and they're showing a picture of the Bigfoot's bottom. They zoomed in on it, saying it must be real because you can see its ass. Anyway, where were we? A man who encountered an alien in the woods when he was just 7 years old says the experience has spurred him on to become a UFO hunter. Ben Walgate's experience. Just let me move that a bit. Say they all have different setups, don't they, these web pages? Ben Walgate's experience would eventually lead him to set up YouTube channel 401 Files, where he shows his visits to UK hotspots for alleged UFO and alien sightings for his more than 11,000 subscribers. Wish I knew how to get that many subscribers. I do. Make good content for a start. Ben's first close encounter was on his way back from a camping trip as a Cub Scout near York when the minibus stopped to allow everyone to stretch their legs. It was broad daylight and very hot, reports the Mirror. Ben walked up a small embankment which brought him into a wooded area and he saw a derelict outbuilding in a clearing. Suddenly, around 25 metres to his left, Ben said he saw a spindly green creature with a tiny head, standing on 2 feet and well over 6 feet tall, with oversized limbs. He described it as walking with a stoop, as if struggling to stand, or clumsily trying to keep a low profile, Ben said. Spelling mistake there. The wooded area wasn't that dense, so I got a good look at this thing. It might have only been a few seconds, but we made eye contact. It had black eyes. This thing was out of the ordinary. It looked at me, I looked at this thing. It was definitely not of this earth. It was such a weird vibe. Its head, in proportion to its body, was tiny. It's not like the stereotypical alien with the grey skin and the big black eyes. This thing was more lizard. I'm not saying it had scales, it wasn't snake-like. It was olive green from head to toe. A very sleek, slender-looking thing, dark black eyes, a little tiny head, long, over-proportional size arms that came past the knees. It was just otherworldly. It shouldn't have been walking on 2 feet. This thing was walking right through the woods. Ben was convinced it was a prank and headed back to the bus, expecting his pals to be laughing, having fooled him, but no one said anything. For several years he forgot about it. In his 20s, however, suddenly the encounter came flooding back like a bolt of lightning. And Ben said he could remember how hot the day was and had a clear picture of the creature. Around 5 years ago, he set up his YouTube channel. I am still very scientifically minded. I won't just jump to anything and say it's an alien, he said. I'm getting out there and investigating some of these areas and following up on some of the stories that people have shared. It's a photo here. Ben found what appears to be large footprints on the moors. There you go. So, yeah, it does. I suppose it does look a bit like a footprint. You see the toe indentations there, but maybe somebody were out walking barefoot. I don't know. Right. Ben said there are intelligent beings out there, and I'm not saying there are, but it's highly likely there are. Well, yeah. If they were coming here for some reconnaissance or research, it wouldn't be difficult in a place like the North Yorkshire moors to stay hidden. The foot traffic there isn't too heavy. You have the odd cyclist or dog walker, and the area is 500 on something square miles of woodland and moorland. He said one of the main things many hotspots have in common is being close to military bases, including the moors, which contains the RAF Fylingdales base. You used to have the golf balls, remember? Big golf balls in the middle of the moors with the radar things inside. But they're not golf balls anymore. They're like, I don't know what they are, but they're not golf balls. If it's even still there, I don't know. I haven't been there for yonks. Ben theorises otherworldly beings may be showing an interest in our military, or they are some level of top-secret military equipment. Ben says he has caught some strange phenomena while shooting videos. This includes a figure walking behind him. Last year, Ben and his brother stalked out into the night at Flamborough Head and believed they saw a UFO over the North Sea. They were just about to head back to their van as the temperature dropped when Ben said they saw 5 orange lights in a complete straight line. It went right across the sky, he added. It stopped on a dime and went straight back in the opposite direction. And we thought, what the hell is that thing doing? It can't be a drone, it's way too big. There's no noise, there's nothing. It's just these 5 lights suspended in the sky, moving really like nothing I've ever seen. And then it was so weird because the thing shot out to sea, and it was about 20 miles out to sea in the blink of an eye. And then we heard a fighter plane roar ahead above us, heading in that direction. And this is where it gets weird. We thought that this is strange. We've not heard a fighter plane or a plane all night, and then the minute we see these 5 strange lights acting weirdly, a fighter plane screeches overhead in that direction. As the fighter plane died out, we look up, and it was literally the only little dark cloud in the sky. These 5 lights emerged eerily out of this cloud. We never saw it come back that way. We never saw it make the trip back. It just disappeared out at sea. The plane went that direction after it, I'm assuming, and then this thing. I'm assuming. And then this thing, seconds later, emerged out of a cloud above our head. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Oh, pardon me. The way it moved, and we both agreed the way it came across the sky and back on itself. It was obviously like it was trying to make a decision on where to go. All of these things are really weird questions, but I can only report what we saw. I have never seen anything like it in my life. If it was a plane, the people inside would have been mush at those speeds. The G-force would have ripped any human to bits. I can't explain it. What they call them? I forgot what they call them now. Inertial dampers. That's what they are. Ben said, the military must know a lot more than they have revealed. We are making discoveries all the time now. People's minds are changing, Ben said. If you go back 20 or 30 years, people would have been laughed. People would have laughed at you talking about this stuff, but now those people are becoming the minority. The universe is so big that we can't be the only ones. It wouldn't make sense, he added. Oh, that's it. That's your lot. There we go. So very interesting. So good luck, Ben, and send some of your 11,000 subscribers my way. Right, next. The Daily Star. I have a couple of stories from the Daily Star. They seem to be doing quite a lot of UFO things recently. Anyway, ancient alien UFO tracked by conspiracy theorists was just a blanket, says NASA. This is an old story. They've been saying this for years. But for some reason it's just popped up again. The bizarre Black Knight conspiracy theory claims there is photographic proof that an alien UFO satellite has orbited Earth for 12,000 years. I've heard 14,000, but whatever. But NASA insists it's just a blanket. Breaking news. Somebody's died. Serial killer. There's a photo of the alleged Black Knight satellite. Conspiracy theorists think this is an alien UFO, but NASA says it's just space debris. Or is it debris? Take your choice. Right. It's been 65 years this week since humans launched the first satellite into orbit with USSR's Sputnik. While many astronomy fans are celebrating the anniversary of this huge leap for mankind, others aren't convinced. Conspiracy theorists have for years claimed that an alien UFO called the Black Knight has orbited the Earth for around 12,000 years and that NASA is involved in a huge cover-up. Proponents of the wild-eyed theory even claim to have photographic proof that the satellite exists. Well, it's not proof, it's evidence, isn't it? As we've just seen, and there are other photos as well. But NASA has insisted for years that they are just looking at a picture of space debris in the form of a thermal blanket lost on a previous mission. The Black Knight theory claims that an alien satellite orbited Earth for around 12,000 years, observing humanity for millennia before being discovered 120 years ago and covered up. The theory dates back to the 1950s at the height of UFO fever, with conspiracists claiming that radio signals from the Black Knight had been picked up during experiments by legendary scientist Nikola Tesla. In the 50s? I think Nikola Tesla died a long way before the 50s. I think he did anyway. When did Nikola Tesla die? I'm sure it was in the 30s or 40s, wasn't it? Let's have a look. I'm probably wrong. Nikola Tesla. Died 1943, so there you go. I knew that. I thought he died in the 40s. So it wasn't in the 50s, was it? Anyway, the theory has risen and fallen in popularity over the years when seemingly inexplicable events occurred, such as when astronaut Gordon Cooper claimed to see a UFO during the Mercury 9 mission in 1963. He also said that he filmed a UFO landing at Edwards Air Force, Andrews Air Force, Edwards Air Force Base, wasn't it? And the footage, was taken away and they never saw it again. However, the Black Knight myth burst into the mainstream again in 1998 when NASA captured an image of a mysterious black mass in orbit of the Earth from the STS-88 mission to the International Space Station. While conspiracists claim this was irrefutable evidence that the theory was true, the explanation was a lot more boring. One of the astronauts dropped a thermal blanket that floated off into space. Astronaut Jerry Ross, who was involved in constructing the ISS at the time, reportedly dropped a thermal cover while on a spacewalk. You don't drop it, do you? You let it go and off it goes. It doesn't drop, does it? It was given the catalogue number 025570 by NASA, floated around for a few days, then burned up in orbit. Burned up in orbit. It falls out of orbit and burns up. But it might not, but it depends, doesn't it? Despite being comprehensively debunked, the conspiracy refuses to die. In 2017, UFO theorists claimed the Black Knight satellite was shot down by an Illuminati warplane. They're just making stuff up now, aren't they? There's just no convincing some people, and that's it. That's a stupid article, isn't it? I mean, it might have been a blanket. I think the blanket theory for this particular photo kind of makes sense. But there are some other photos. And there's the talk that they picked up signals allegedly from it, but I don't know. But this is like a debunking article in it from the Daily Star. Boo, Daily Star! Let's get your other article over with. Right, UFO over Russia sparked Land of the Aliens claims, including three-eyed alien and pink glow. Hundreds of UFO sightings in the now called Land of the Aliens, where hundreds of reports flooded. I've just read that. Oh, God's sake. I hate when they repeat themselves from the title to the subtitle. Right, a UFO spotted over Russia sparked hundreds of supernatural reports that included a three-eyed alien sighting and dozens of people saying a pink glow could be seen. The now infamous Voronezh UFO incident was first publicly reported to have startled a group of children over the days leading up to October 9th, 1989, when the full report was released. When the group of boys say they saw a mysterious... while the group of boys say they spotted a mysterious pink glow in the sky, as well as a deep red ball that circled, vanished, then reappeared minutes later, hundreds more chimed in with their own sightings. It sparked one of the largest UFO responses from a government, with the Soviet Scientific Commission ordered to investigate the alleged sighting of a three-eyed alien. Their investigation and inquiry into the alleged incident saw scientists from the, at the time, Soviet Union visit the site of the so-called sighting. What they discovered soon after were hundreds of reports, with the area of the first sighting being dubbed the Land of the Aliens, despite far-fetched claims from the children... what have we done there? Despite far-fetched claims from the children who alleged that one alien used a ray gun to make an unnamed 16-year-old boy disappear, hundreds of individuals began claiming they had spotted extraterrestrials. Lieutenant Sergei A. Matviev, an employee of the Voronezh Police District, even alleged to have seen a body flying in the sky. I presume that's an aerial photograph of the area. Voronezh became host to a number of alleged UFO sightings. One journalist at the time, writing for, this is going to be good, isn't it? Komsomolskaya Pravda, had even claimed that he was able to secure an exclusive interview with alien beings, but this, surprisingly, turned out to be false. A private company was behind the subsequent Land of the Aliens namesake, charging people to tour the grounds of the Voronezh sightings. Despite an above-average presence of radiation in the area, UFO hopefuls were soon told this was due to the Chernobyl effect, with the University of Voronezh's Igor Serotsev saying it was an insignificant finding. He said at the time, the presence of a larger than normal quantity of the radioactive isotope cesium in the area of the alleged sighting did not constitute proof of a landing. After Chernobyl, this kind of phenomenon has been found in many areas. And that's it. There's another crappy debunking article, really, isn't it? It's like they're just going for stuff to poo-poo UFO sightings. Boo, Daily Star. Anyway, let's move on. Right, we're on Vice. This is another one, actually, that's kind of debunking. But right, Harvard's top alien hunting astronomer has an explanation for UFOs spotted above Ukraine. Avi Loeb, excuse me, who leads a team of scientists looking for evidence of alien technology for Harvard, has reasoned that scientists observed artillery shells. Right. In September, Ukrainian astronomers published a report detailing what they thought were unexplained aerial phenomena or UAPs flying above the war-torn region. Remember, we covered this a couple of weeks ago. Now, alien hunting Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb has weighed in on the science out of Kiev. I'm not going to say Kiev, I say Kiev. With a paper posted online. I don't care. I'll say Kiev. I'm not from the Ukraine, so why should I say it like they say it? I bet they say London, how they say it. I bet they don't say it like we say it. In France, they don't call it London, do they? They call it Londres, so why should I say Paris and when I say Paris? Sorry, getting that off my chest. Right. Now, alien hunting Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb has weighed in on the science out of Kiev with a paper posted online on Wednesday and found a down-to-earth explanation for the puzzling observations which the Ukrainians attributed to so-called phantom UAPs. Loeb is head of the Galileo project at Harvard University. Remember, we covered this, I think it was last week or the week before, I can't remember. With a lot of these, UFO adjacent projects around at the moment, isn't there? Galileo Project at Harvard University, a program that uses scientific rigor to search for evidence of extraterrestrial life and technology. Remember the techno signatures, or the buzzword, wasn't it? And former chair of the school's astronomy department. He's gained accolades and notoriety in equal measure in recent years for feats such as getting the US military to confirm that an interstellar object entered the Earth's atmosphere using classified data, and for hypothesizing that alien technology zipped by our planet in 2017. Oh dear. Loeb told Motherboard on the phone that people constantly ask him to comment or study unidentified aerial phenomena. He claimed the authors of the initial paper out of Kiev had contacted him with their work, but that he hadn't looked at it. The skies above Kiev, Loeb said, are the last place people should be looking for UAPs right now. In science, we're trying to minimise the noise so that we can pick up the signal, and therefore Ukraine will be the last place on Earth where I would search for unidentified aerial phenomena. The noise level is so high, he said. Ukraine is at war, and during a war there's lots of stuff flying through the sky. Drones, aircraft and artillery shells, and satellites would conflict with any observations made of the sky. It's sort of like saying, I want to find the stars that are in the Milky Way galaxy, and I will look during the daytime, Loeb said. But everything changed when Sean Kirkpatrick, the newly appointed head of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, showed up at Loeb's home, he said, and asked him to look into the phenomenon of UAPs. According to Loeb, Kirkpatrick didn't mention the Kiev report specifically. Loeb recalled it later that evening and decided to work through its observations in the morning. So good an hour. Within an hour, he concluded that they got the distance to their dark objects wrong by a factor of 10. So an hour. It spent an hour and came to this conclusion, did he? He said in a write-up of his observations on Medium. The Ukraine, basically, he's saying the Ukrainian scientists are incompetent. That's what he's saying, isn't he? What I got mad there. The Ukrainian UAP paper identified two kinds of objects it labelled phantoms and cosmics. By the way, remember what they found were in detectors 120 kilometres apart. And they said they detected the same object in both detectors. The Ukrainian UAP paper identified two kinds of objects it labelled phantoms and cosmics. Phantoms were dark objects and cosmics were luminous. He focused on the phantoms at first because if they're dark, it means they're blocking light and probably in Earth's atmosphere. The paper suggested that these phantoms were 3 to 12 metres in length and moving at speeds of up to 15 kilometres per second at a distance of up to 10 to 12 kilometres. According to Loeb, an object that fits that description would cause an incredible disruption to the atmosphere, a huge fireball, Loeb said. According to Loeb, the energy released by such an object would be equivalent to the amount of energy consumed by everyone on Earth. They certainly don't claim to see a fireball. The objects are dark. They call them phantoms. They don't see anything, so they made a mistake. Unbelievable. They made a mistake. That's another way of saying you don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. I reject your hypothesis after an hour. Objects moving through space displace the matter around them. When a bullet leaves a gun, it displaces air and makes distinctive cracking noise. When a jet goes faster than the speed of sound, the waves of pressure create a sonic boom. And according to Loeb, with regard to meteors, a tenth of the kinetic power is radiated away in the optical band. Anything of the size and speed described in the Kiev paper would create such a noise and cause a similar explosion of sound and light. Yeah, that's if you're thinking it's just a a natural, quote, natural object. I just mentioned inertial dampers, didn't I? Not too long ago. We're talking about, possible technology here, and he's supposed to be looking for techno signatures. The word. Instead, Loeb believes that the explanation for phantom UAVs in Ukraine is something much more common during war: artillery. If the phantom objects are 10 times closer than suggested, then their angular motion on the sky corresponds to a physical velocity that is 10 times smaller. And then that there. And their inferred transverse size would be about 0.3 to 1.2 meters. Both characteristic of artillery shells, he wrote in his paper on the subject. As for that's guessing that they're 10 times smaller or 10 times closer. As for the luminous object observed by the Ukrainian astronomers, Loeb concludes that it's likely a satellite. Both Russia and Ukraine have launched artillery shells during the war, and this simple explanation makes a lot of sense. When reached for comment, however, B.E. Zhileyev, one of the Ukrainian authors of the original paper, stood by their findings. Good for you. His team published the data, but are not in the business of speculating on what that data means, he said. There we go. I have read the article by Avi Loeb. I know his comment, Zhileyev said. Avi Loeb is a theorist. We are experimenters. We observe, process, and determine the characteristics of data. Our publication contains just such data. We are not in the business of interpretation. Avi Loeb is trying to interpret our data. This work contains a discovery, bright and dark objects. Our work can be repeated and verified. Although this is a challenging experiment, our characteristics of the objects are very similar to those of US military pilots and Canadian civilian pilots. You tell him. My reply is simple, Loeb said after reading Zhilayev's response. Being an experimentalist or a theorist is not relevant. All scientists, whether they are experimentalists or theorists, must use logic. Logically, Loeb said, the fact that the objects were dark means that they blocked the light coming from the sky. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The required electromagnetic interaction with light implies that the phantom objects must also interact with air molecules, he said. There is no logical way for the phantom objects to block light, but not air molecules. Sunspots are black, but they're not blocking light, are they? Just saying. If you took away the sun, a sunspot would be very bright. They just look black because in comparison to the sun around them, which is a lot brighter. There is no logical way for the phantom objects to block light, but not air molecules, because the cross-section for electromagnetic interaction for air molecules with matter is larger than for light with matter. Blah, blah, blah. That's what he's saying there. I shall blind you with science. That's what he's saying. A popular refrain from people in the UAP community when faced with evidence like this will say that whoever or whatever is behind the phenomenon have access to technology beyond our understanding. But Loeb maintains that advanced technology must still in effect follow the laws of physics. Well, it depends how advanced it is, doesn't it? I say that is not possible, Loeb said, because how do you detect these objects? You detect them by the fact that they're dark. In order for them to be dark in the background of the day sky, they must block light. Light is electromagnetic. It requires an electromagnetic interaction. So if they block light, they must collide with air molecules. You cannot, on the one hand, say an object is blocking light and at the same time say it will go through the air without pushing it. That is not possible. He's just digging a hole for himself, I think. A big black hole. UAPs, the new name for UFOs, have become big news in the last few years. The Pentagon declassified several videos of strange objects observed by Navy pilots after the images had already been leaked to the press. Congress created the Arrow to try to figure out what's going on, and politicians and military officers have come forward to share their experiences and weigh in. In this environment, Loeb has become one of the most well-known figures in the scientific community, who is keeping his mind open, don't sound like it, does it, to the possibility of alien intelligence while applying rigorous science. He is currently organising an expedition to search for remnants of an interstellar object on the ocean floor. Most likely it's a meteor that will tell us a lot about the universe beyond our cosmic doorstep. It could also be alien technology, Loeb says, but the former outcome wouldn't be so bad either. The Pentagon's Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which coordinates with the Arrow, did not respond to Motherboard's request for comment. There we go. So it's basically just poo-pooing, a what's the word, peer-reviewed paper, and he's just saying that because he believes that if the object's black, it's blocking the light, therefore it's solid and it must interact with the air. That's just nonsense, isn't it? It's just nonsense. He doesn't believe they are unidentified. He thinks they're just artillery shells. And he came to that conclusion in an hour, remember. Right. A video again. This is from Tyler at Secure Team. And so what's he looking at today? Oh, yes, this is what he's looking at today. Remember the DART mission that smashed itself into... is it Dimorphos? I can't remember which one it is now. There's two asteroids, one a small one and a big one, orbiting each other, travelling through space. I think the big one's called Didymus and the small one's called Dimorphos. Or it might be the other way around, I can't remember. But anyway, DART smashed into it because they're testing to see if they can alter the trajectory of an asteroid. If one's on an Earth collision trajectory, they see if they can divert them. So that's what the mission was about. But that's interesting in itself. But they found, if I can find it, because it talks about the mission and the tail that it leaves, a 10,000 kilometre long tail, a trail of dust basically, which is fair enough. There we go. But there was something more interesting. There we go. An object passed by as DART headed towards Dimorphos. An object seemed to pass by Didymus. There we go. It seemed to go. That's not quite actually what happened. I'll play the video and you can see. Let's say footage of the impact. Don't forget to follow Secure Team 10. Subscribe to the channel. Right, it's going to play the video of this object. It goes by really fast. There you go. That's 1 frame, 2 frames, and then it's gone. And then another one comes along, and then that frame. So it's like, see, the one object that goes round, or 2 objects, more likely 2 objects. It's likely that they're probably just... because they're very rocky, they're very bouldery, are these 2 bodies. So they might be surrounded by, like a cloud of boulders and stuff that are, orbiting them. So, but you think if they were that prominent that you could see a couple of them within a few seconds of each other, or within a second of each other, you'd think, well, the DART spacecraft are in danger of being hit by one, wouldn't you? But I don't know. But that's interesting in itself. Because he likes looking for this stuff. There's Tyler. But that's interesting. There we go, looking again. But he likes looking for that stuff. I'm going to cover this in another video, this one here, so we'll skip by that. That's interesting as well. Oh, and he's looking at what he thinks are UFOs taken on the Apollo 17 mission in the sky. He highlights these objects in the sky above the astronauts. But there could be anything, really. I don't know. There seems to be a trail coming off that one. I don't know. I don't know if the blemishes on the film or if they're actually there. Some people would say it's a hole in the roof because it were all filmed in a hangar. Some people would say that, but not me. So yeah, that's interesting. That's if you're into that sort of stuff. It's either something that was actually there, or a blemish on the film. Because remember, there were film cameras. There weren't digital cameras. There were film cameras. So the chemicals out there. So you could have something like that. Right, last story. Another video. UFO at high school football game, Wentzville, Missouri. So I'll just play it. They're all shouting. They're all shouting, and they do seem to be pointing. In a minute. When we play it, there, somebody points at it. I think another chap points where it went. It'll repeat in a moment. It'll repeat in a moment. So they all seem to be panicking a little bit. I don't know why, but there we go. We see this object. It looks a bit like a comet, doesn't it? When they zoom in on it, it looks a bit like a comet, and then it zips off. There you go. Whew, gone. So it's most peculiar. Because I was thinking it's a rocket launch. Because you see these SpaceX rockets going up and stuff, and they look pretty cool from a long way away. They look pretty amazing, especially when the staging and stuff like that, or if they're re-entering and it's coming down and it's firing off its little attitude thrusters and stuff. They do look quite spectacular, and people who are not familiar with rocket launchers, they'll be like, "Oh, it's a UFO." And at first, I thought that's what it was, but then when it shoots off like that, we'll replay that a little bit. There we go. When it shoots off like that rockets don't do that. That's not how rockets work. So that's interesting. And then I think it pans down, and then you see somebody pointing where it was. We'll go back to the beginning. See if I can catch this chap pointing. See, it's not doing it now, is it? I saw somebody pointing in the video. Oh. Let's try again. It might have been in the secure team video where I saw it. It might have had a different zoom on it. So we'll try that one, eh? We'll try that one. Let's go back. He's still looking at his milk. There we go. One chap, he points and like he goes, like it went that way. Well, I think he does. Did I dream it? I could have done. I could have dreamt it. Anyway, it's still interesting. Whatever the explanation. I don't know what it is. I think it's a genuine video. I don't know why they're all freaking out at it. I suspect, my initial suspicion here is that something's been caught on film, but the noise that's going on is unrelated to what's on the film, to what's in the sky. I think it's a football game, so people are probably highly charged. I don't know if it's before or after the game. Maybe the local team won and they're all excited and stuff. And it's just a crowd of people doing what crowds of people do. So, but they do seem to be looking in that direction, don't they? They do seem to be looking, and you can hear them. You say this is amazing.
What the fuck is that, man? Tristan, we're getting invaded by aliens, dude. What is going on?
Saying that, I think they are looking. I think they are looking at it, and some are freaking out. But the people that are freaking out might not be freaking out at that. Some people say this is amazing. I don't know. It's an interesting sighting. So we did get some interesting UFO. Let me tell, he's gone off. Never mind. We did get some interesting UFO sightings this week, didn't they? My favourite is, if I can find it, where are we? My favourite is this one. I do like that one. This is a cool little video, is that? I know it's short, but it's a cool little video. That's my favourite for this week. So that gets the Mercury Rapids Trophy of Honour for this week. UFO sighting of the week. I should do that, shouldn't I? So there you go. So we'll leave it there. So that's another week done. Another week of UFO sightings. Let's do it again. More UFO sightings next week. Do Uri Geller style, consciousness thing. But there you go. So we'll leave it there. So wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.